Happy Friday, Mike Larson, Allen Realtors, to talk real estate with you today. People ask me a lot, how long does it take for a transaction to close? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Generally speaking, you're talking about 4 or 5 weeks. Although the time it takes from mutual acceptance to the closing date is entirely up to the buyer and the seller. They have to agree on things other than price. A lot of times people think it's just the price. Well, no, they have to agree on what conditions the buyer has for making the purchase, whether or not there's an inspection or a financing contingency. They have to agree on what the earnest money amount is. They have to agree on when the closing date is, and so on. And so, typically, if you're a seller, from the time that the sign goes into the ground and you flip the switch and make the listing go live, in this market, gosh, if your home is on the market for more than a week or 10 days, it's probably priced too high. It's just, that's the market today. And so in today's market, if you consider that the market time is going to be 10 days and the closing time, which is the time from mutual acceptance between the parties and the closing date, if you think that's going to be 4 or 5 weeks, you're looking at maybe 35, 40 days from when the sign goes into the ground until the closing table. There are things that primarily the buyer has to do once mutual acceptance has been arrived at. And we talked a little bit about first base, second base, third base, and home. The baseball analogy I use for kind of the chronology of a real estate transaction. But, the inspection is the first thing. And typically buyers don't do an appraisal before an inspection because there may be something that is a deal breaker that comes out of the inspection. But the inspection is usually 5 to 10 days after mutual acceptance. So if the things that you disapprove of are going to be addressed or remedied by the seller. After the inspection's done, the appraisal is ordered and completed. That's the main reason why it takes so long sometimes for deals to close. Is lenders and appraisers, not the lenders, but the appraisers who work for the lenders. There's a shortage, and getting an appraiser to do an appraisal in in a couple days or a week is difficult. And so so the inspection and then the appraisal, and then during the time after the inspection, quite often the seller is making the repairs or doing the things or remedying the things that a buyer had disapproved of on their inspection. So anyhow, that kind of gives a rough outline of the time frame that it takes for a transaction to close. If you have any further questions, you can give me a call. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.